The title for today's guest is so long, if I tried to give it to you now, we wouldn't have time for the interview. You'll meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at Garden City Furniture in Garden City on Highway 17 Business. We're focused on the Myrtle Beach tourism industry, and we're visiting with Gary Loftus from Coastal Carolina University. That's right. It's such a big title there. I'm going to have to ask you to tell us exactly what it is.
Well, my business card is 4x6.
That's right. Got to pull it out.
Pull it out, right. It's the Coastal Federal Center for Economic and Community Development in the Craig Wall Senior College of Business Administration in Coastal Carolina.
I love it, yeah.
And then there's a housing, the Clay Britton Jr. Resort Tourism Center.
Fantastic.
So we do it all out there.
Had I gotten that out at 7 a.m. on a Thursday morning, it would have been
It's
very
tough for me to get
That's
it out
right. I'm
midday.
trying to think how you can get it out at all.
Can't do it.
How long have you been over at Coastal Carolina?
Been at Coastal now. I'm in my 5th year now.
Is that right?
It doesn't seem that way. It's been just been an absolutely wonderful experience, and one that I wouldn't trade now for anything.
And, of course, the center there was more or less, was it set up around you, or it had been set up before you?
The center started by the Horry County Commission on Higher Education in 1988, mid to late 80s, along with 3 other centers. One was Marine and Wetland Studies,
right,
which, of course, is internationally known.
Mm-hmm.
We're extremely proud of that. So it's been going on now for some almost 20 years.
Mm.
Originally, Pete Barr was not only the dean of the business college, he headed up the center,
right.
And then it was given to one of our faculty members when Dr. Barr left to go with Burroughs and Chapin and came back to be provost.
Mm-hmm.
And the faculty member just couldn't deal with faculty duties and this at the same time. It wasn't going exactly through no fault of the faculty.
Right, sure.
It's just that it's very time-consuming to do it right.
Mm-hmm.
And so they brought me on in January of 03. And we've been just taking off since then.
It is very active. Of course, you all are out mainstream. You've been so well recognized and known in the community for as long as you have, but to be able to have this position, which even opens more doors, particularly from an academic perspective, to give not a little more legitimacy to what Gary would say, but, you know, having the Coastal Carolina wrap behind you, and, of course, the center there itself is...
My mother would have thought it was a great thing for me to end my career, because she and my dad were both teachers, and so she thought it was a wonderful thing. She didn't like me being just an old hotel operator. You know? That was somewhat degrading to her, but there's some wonderful people in the industry and doing great things, so...
When you talk about your parents, did you grow up here in the area?
No, actually, I'm from born and raised in Cleveland, east side of Cleveland. Then after college, went with a company that was in Cleveland in engineering sales. Believe it or not, I'm an engineer by training.
Is that right? Rather than a hotelier?
Rather than a hotelier, right. They gave me a choice of territories of Toledo or Baton Rouge, and I immediately said Baton Rouge.
Yeah, take me south.
Yeah, because they said, well, why? And I said, well, I've been to Toledo. And got down here in the south and just turned down 2 promotions, actually, to stay in the
same
south.
Company, one based out of...
One to Kalamazoo and one to Chicago. So,
is that right?
To stay down here in the south and work with some of their distributors. And,
right.
Worked on the Saturn moon rocket and a few other neat things. So,
really?
Yeah, had a lot of fun with that. It was some interesting work.
You know, it's tough to imagine as folks are heading in certain directions, what will pull them out of that. And obviously something brought you to Myrtle Beach.
Well, yes, it was a family affair, if you will. My in-laws, my wife's parents, had a small property on the beach, and they decided to build a high-rise hotel in the early 70s, and that was the Bar Harbor Motor Inn, which had always been the Bar Harbor Cottages.
Oh, sure.
And goodness gracious, we built this high-rise, and people thought the world had come to an end because it was 8 stories. And we have pictures of the aerial photographs where we are the tallest building.
Oh,
there was a yachtsman and ourselves in the Regency Towers.
Right.
And that was it. for high-rises.
And of course,
everything else was no more than 3 stories.
And those other 2 facilities, Regency Towers and Yachtsman, are they still in their same form now?
They are still in their
redone?
same form, as is the original Bar Harbor. Of course, we rebuilt the Bar Harbor 3 different times.
No.
Once after Hurricane David, I think in the late 70s. Of course, then Hurricane Hugo took us 6 months to get back in. And then we had a tornado on July 6, 2001 at 4:21 in the afternoon that did us completely and kind of nicked the property next door to us on both sides. But it took us almost a year to get back from that because it just blew everything out. And
I remember that. I mean, I remember seeing, of course, pictures of that and everything. And
the roof hanging off the side, and it was a brand new roof too. It was kind of, it was a brand new membrane roof, and we were so proud of it.
And there it went. You watched it down on the ground.
It wasn't even 6 months old.
No way.
Yeah, 2 trolley buses on their sides in our parking lot.
It was that. It just came through that quick.
Right, and it just bam and gone. And some incredible things happen in a tornado. You don't really understand how freakish it is.
Were you there that day?
No, I was. Well, actually, I was only. I was on Oak Street at 17th. And my wife called and just said a tornado. You know, in fact, I drove there and the skies was dark, normal afternoon, 4 o'clock thunderstorm, right?
Right.
And people were standing out in the street pointing up, and I said, look at those nuts out in the rain. And they were pointing at my motel being destroyed. So, and I went in the office and got to an appointment I had and got a call. And so I went back, no traffic lights. I just got in behind a fire truck. Followed the fire truck all the way back. But we had our main sign, which was held up by 2 12-inch I-beams, was almost flat on the ground. It was only 3 feet off the ground, and it didn't break. It bent the I-beams. It just bent them, 12-inch I-beams. And I know a little bit about structural engineering, and that's an incredible force to have to bend it the way they bent it. It wasn't bent the way it was supposed to bend. So.
We see the destruction in areas when it goes through a town like in Alabama or other parts of the country recently, and we see schools and lives being taken, but for being your own, you and your families and watching that both.
It's kind of, and you know, after we got it built back up, why then my wife and I kind of decided that's it. We just can't rebuild this anymore, and decided to go out and do other things, and more or less retired after almost 30 years.
That is fascinating. I saw from 74 to 2002, and to think about, of course, just the experience of being either there in the beginning when it was 8 stories and seeing the beach grow up around you, and of course the Yachtsman and Regency. Literally, you're right there in the middle between those
the two, almost identical,
almost physically in the middle of those two. To think about the growth either between y'all or on either sides of those facilities over the course of that 30 years.
And finally, they're getting the area between where we were at First Avenue, and the pavilion is at 9th Avenue, between 8th and 9th Avenue.
Right.
And the area in between, if you look at a map and you'll find out how shallow those properties are between us, Ocean Boulevard actually gets too close to the ocean in that area. You go down south, and it's quite a ways away from the ocean, but in that area, it's only about 150 feet. The lots are only 150 feet deep, if that. Some are ours were 125. But they've done an overlay zone, and now that area is coming back.
Right.
And rebuilding, and I think in the next 3 years it'll be completely redone, completely rebuilt. So.
Sure, and for our viewers in the PD or southeastern North Carolina who've never been or seen the Bar Harbor, it's real easy if you're coming down 501, get on 3rd Avenue South.
3rd Avenue and hang a left at Ocean Boulevard, 2 blocks on the right.
Yeah.
Lord knows I've given that instruction out 100 times.
And of course, being there at the facility over the course of that, I mean, you really worked every side. Have you been in every room? You've probably picked up you've just done it all.
Well, it wasn't that big a property. We ended up 125 units, I believe. Built the first building, then built the second building in the mid-'80s, second tower. But it's interesting if you're sitting there and your desk clerk says, well, can I go get a bite to eat? And you say, okay, I'll cover for you for a few minutes. And I haven't seen him since. And this was in 1986. You have to be ready to do everything at any time. It wasn't big enough where we could just walk away from it.
Right.
But it was small enough we get to know all our guests.
Sure.
And that's really what we miss is the people. Actually, the 4th of July crowd, we still get together.
Is that right?
Yeah, we have golf outings. And
many of the same folks coming back year after
same
year.
Same folks come year after year.
Must be a powerful experience, of course, to see those families change.
We're in 3rd generation on some families. Yes. So it's, grandfathers, parents, and now the kids are coming.
Yeah. When I think of Bar Harbor, it seems like it's larger. Did it expand considerably either on the redo in the early 2000s? I mean, is there Bar Harbor and Bar Harbor South? Is that
well? The Bar Harbor South was our second tower.
Okay,
South,
right.
Which was on the south side of First Avenue. And then we had a property across the street, and as I said, we had when the tornado hit, it was do we redevelop? What do we do?
Sure, what do we do? Yeah.
Financially, it wasn't right for us to do it at that time.
Right.
Looking back. We could have caught the rising tide on the condo craze.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And sold it all out before it hit the wall like it did this past year. And just kind of walked away from it. But timing's everything, and we just couldn't pull the trigger at that particular time.
Yeah. Think about, of course, even over the last 5 years, as you look back, stepping away from Bar Harbor in that position, but so many things you were doing concurrent with that. It was fascinating seeing your experiences, of course, not only with DOT and representing the first congressional district or the first district, but also your service, of course, on the ride. I guess did you help get it started?
We had a wonderful group of people on the original ride group.
Right.
After the sales tax referendum failed in 1996, we had the first sales tax referendum, and it failed by its standard 2-to-1 margin. Then Governor Beasley at the time said, well, we've got everything in place.
Right.
We just need to figure out a way to do it. And he said, he just asked me to head up a team and put a group of people together and see if we could find a way. And we had myself and 8 others, and they were from the vote no people, the vote yes people. We had hoteliers. We had John Koss was on there from County Council, as well as James Frazier.
Great thinker, yeah.
Harry Charles from City Council.
Oh, great.
And we came up with a plan, and believe it or not, some of the ideas, and there were some wonderful people from DOT that said this was their chance to kind of think outside of the box. And it was really the idea of the infrastructure bank was born right there from just a statement that one of the DOT finance director said. He said, don't think of DOT money, think of state money. It's not a DOT problem, it's a state problem.
Right.
And once we got over that, we got through that paradigm shift, it just birthed the state infrastructure bank, and the rest, they say, is history.
Yeah, and so much is history, albeit it's just every time you get on so many of the roads that were beneficiaries of RIDE and the State Infrastructure Bank, it must be an overwhelming feeling knowing you were there in the genesis.
It wasn't. There was a lot of people, and it was serendipity, the right people at the right place at the right time.
Right.
And we had a crowd. We went around, took our dog and pony show to every county council, city council, school board, everybody, and we got endorsed by everybody in Horry County. It's probably one of the few things that Horry County totally agreed on. And it was, as I said, the right place at the right time. It wasn't me, and it wasn't. Frankie Blanton was our vice chair from Blanton Supply up in Loris and North Myrtle Beach. And I would name all of them, but I'd forget somebody.
That's right. Just one, yeah.
Just one is all I'd have to do. And that would be the only one watching. But we had just a wonderful experience, met about every other week. And not that it was anything, not that we were brilliant.
No, of course, but you see that need. Bill McCown was with us on Monday, and hearing him talk about seeing a real need and then finding a way to get the right people together to make it happen and correct that need or fill the need.
Exactly.
And, of course, you all, as a group there was clearly a need. You'd have the same 100% support right now had it not happened at 31 and 22 and other things not happened the way they had if you were out to meeting with those groups now. You'd see the same response.
And I think that they would... The problem with some of the plans that have come since then, this is no reflection on the people that put them together because they work very hard, but if you keep the political process out of it, it's amazing what you can accomplish. And take away the pride of authorship. It's incredible what you can accomplish.
Right, when it's
and we
group.
did all that. We just decided, clean slate, clean blackboard. Let's figure out a way to do it. And
Have you seen instances since then, Gary, where there were opportunities to do just that, take the political sphere out of it, and try to, we see your service as a past chair of the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber, of course, as Myrtle Beach Golf Holiday, now in your role service over with the Myrtle Beach Area Hospitality Association, a lot of places where you'd love to see.
get the politics out
Exactly.
of it. It happens, and it has happened. I think one example where it finally got done was the Cross Island Expressway in Hilton Head. I mean, there was a lot of push and pull on that,
bet.
and we finally got that through. I think of some of the projects going on, and I say, geez, if they would just, things would go a lot smoother.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But the State Infrastructure Bank, by the way, being a somewhat political body in of itself, has birthed some projects that were necessary and needed for York County, for Beaufort, for the Greenville-Spartanburg area, that did manage. The people got together and said, this is what we need. The devil with the politicians. This is what we need. And they saw the Infrastructure Bank as a way to get it done.
That's great. Of course, we still have an Horry County component there.
Oh, yes.
Very active.
Don Leonard's done a wonderful job in his role there. In fact, if it wasn't for Don, a couple of our projects would have, he kept bringing them up.
Right.
And the Infrastructure Bank, they like to think they do things on merit.
Right.
And there certainly is a component of merit involved in all their projects, but then in the end, the political process seems to take
creeps
over.
back in. Fortunately, back when you all were doing that, it did not. And
well, we had all the politicians behind it.
Oh yeah, of course, that's right.
And what we like to say is we formed a parade and just put them in front.
Right.
And anytime you can form a parade, and if you want to get somewhere, just put your guy in front and let him hold the baton. And
I love it.
And a lot of things get done that way.
I love it. Think about these groups. Of course, your service, not only in that role, but also some of the changes that have happened with the chamber and seeing the birth of a guy like Brad Dean, seeing that come to fruition. And I know that was around your time of service there, really seeing that happen. Of course, the golf holiday. Mickey was with us last month when we were filming over the Embassy Suites leading up to the Heart Ball, and it was so fascinating hearing him talk about just some basic issues, things that you wouldn't think about when he talks about the airport, for instance. If one runway is under construction, the need on an international side, international folks won't even think about us without just little things.
Little things like that. But some of them are obstacles that some of them are only obstacles in our own minds. As far as the second runway is concerned, that's going to be extremely difficult.
Oh, yeah, sure.
If not impossible.
Right, may never happen, sure.
But if you stop and think about it, an international carrier coming over here is, by regulation, must carry at least 45 minutes reserve. At least American carriers have to. They calculate the winds, this, that, and the other thing. And, of course, some things may happen to cut that reserve. But if you're coming into Myrtle Beach and something's wrong with the runway, you just make a slight left-hand turn, land in Charleston, and it's only a 5-minute difference.
Is that right? Yeah.
Well, if you're
because
coming
of that 40, right.
I mean, certainly you would know prior to getting to Myrtle Beach if something was wrong with the runway. And, just do a little
good thinking, yeah.
Turn to the left, and it wouldn't be very much. Or you turn to the right and go to Wilmington, and that's 5 minutes. Or you overfly it, and in a terrible emergency, you have to land at Shaw Air Force Base, which is maybe another 10 minutes. So, and no, you don't end up where you're supposed to be. And yes, we have to arrange for buses to get everybody up here.
For sure.
But, the number of times the runway's been blocked is, in the last 10 years, I think twice. And granted, it'll always happen on my flight. So, I mean, it's not that we can't overcome those. I mean, they do present difficulties. But certainly I think that in 10 years, we're going to, whether we need it today or not is immaterial. What we need in 10 years is what's important.
Right.
And do we wait 10 years to build it at some exorbitant price? We have an opportunity to do it now. And will it be underutilized in the beginning? Probably. But where's the regional airport? 20, 25, 30 years down the road?
Yeah. Now, Bill Darby was with us on Tuesday, and of course he was
yes, I understand.
kept slipping little things in on that, and tried to calm him down a little bit. It was tough,
Right.
but he was slipping things in.
He gets very
That's right.
passionate about it. I love passion. I love his
Absolutely. Again, it's much like Bill, the other Bill's comment about finding that need, being passionate about it, and filling it. And filling it. That's exactly right. You know, of course, as we talk about the service there, currently the Hospitality Association has been going through a lot of change and recognizing some tremendous growth opportunities.
Well, what we found is with Golf Holiday, the Chamber, and Hospitality Association, there's some overlap.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, as with all CVBs and things of that nature, you've got to become efficient and make good use of your resources. And a lot of it was being wasted on both of us were going to trade shows. Why do that?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like having two ads in the same magazine on the same page, one from North Myrtle Beach, one from Myrtle Beach. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So there's got to be some coordination. And partnering with the State Hospitality Association and the National Restaurant Association only made commonly good sense.
Mm-hmm.
You join one, you belong to them all.
Right.
And you can be represented by all in different areas. So we saw it as a very positive move and one that's beginning to work out now. We've gotten over the speed bumps, and I think we're on the 4 lanes now.
I love it. I love it. Pulse of the Strand came out.
Pulse of the Strand
will be
today.
out on streets today. That's right. Later this
Find out how February was kind of flat. After a great January, we kind of smoothed out in February, and I think it had a lot to do with the weather.
Mm-hmm.
We're so weather sensitive this time of the year. And if you lose 10% of your February business in the overall picture for the year, it isn't much. You lose 1% of your July business. Now that's big time. But you can, and we didn't lose business. We just didn't get where we wanted to be in February. Largely weather related. We had a bigger marathon than ever. Yet our occupancy was down that weekend, and a lot of it has to do with the increase in the room supply.
There really has been a dramatic increase over the. And what are the dates you'll utilize when recognizing that increase? Is that a year to year? Is that a 5 years? I mean, you just
we do it every way, but we generally compare year to year, and we will go back to previous year. If you look at where we are over 2 years ago, we're in really great shape, in excellent shape. We've been able to hold the prices. In fact, we're still a good value, even though our revenue's gone up. Our rates have gone up. We're still an excellent value, so we don't see that as being any kind of a hindrance. We just have to get out there and do the marketing. We found out there's an incredible number of people that don't even know Myrtle Beach exists.
Where are they, Gary?
Surprisingly enough, a lot of them...
Don't tell me they're in Ohio.
No, there's some in Ohio, some in Charlotte, believe it or not.
Oh, come on.
Seriously. Yes. Yeah. Remember, 25% of Charlotte is brand new every year.
I guess
it's a very transient community, so you have a 25% a new market in Charlotte, and if they come in from Portland, Oregon to Charlotte, I mean, only
Myrtle
if somebody
Beach,
mentions
Florida,
Myrtle Beach and they say, well, what's that?
Right.
It's interesting, yeah.
I never knew.
And there's been many people have been to Myrtle Beach, but hardly anybody's been to South Carolina. They don't even make.
Oh, of course, sure.
They don't make the connect.
They'd have no idea about the connection.
They've been to Hilton Head, they've been to Charleston, they've been to Myrtle Beach, but have you ever been to South Carolina? Well, on my way to Florida, I think we went through it. So they don't make the connect. So that's why we need to advertise Myrtle Beach more, and South Carolina probably less.
That My Beach trips, or My Beach has really had a great takeoff.
I think so. And I leave the marketing people. I will tell you right off the bat that I am not a marketing person. Pretty good operations person, heck of a maintenance person. But when it comes to marketing, I leave that to the experts.
You can.
And I am not one of them.
Yeah, I am shocked about the marathon. That seemed like such a huge.
Well, you remember it was bitter cold.
Right.
And people don't want to come down the beach and walk.
Day trips.
Yeah, they don't want to come down here for the weekend and walk on the beach in 35-degree weather. It's not their idea of a vacation, or even fun time. So we can understand that. And of course, it's also a function of the increase in room supply. We've gone up 20-some% in the last 3 years.
20%.
We've gone from 72,000 bedrooms to almost 90,000 bedrooms, 72,000 at the beginning of 2004 to 72 to 90,000 at the end of 2006. From January of 2004 to December, that's really 3 full years.
3 full years.
Yeah, gone up that much in bedrooms. We don't count front doors, we count bedrooms, because obviously that determines the number of people that can be here.
Right.
And it's so that incredible increase in inventory, and there's been many reasons for the increase in inventory. It's not the demand in inventory here, but with the new condotel concept, the business model of the condotel which is really the only way to build a property anymore, has resulted in this, if you will, oversupply of rooms. And you'll see it correct itself, just like the golf courses have done.
Absolutely. Gary, I wish we had an increase in minutes, but we have run out of time. Thank you
Greg,
so much
an absolute pleasure.
for being with us this morning.
Delighted.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Gary Loftus coming up next. You heard him talk about the benefits of either working in a team or working with a group. A little bit of Taylor DeMont in there, working as a team to get out the pulse of the Strand. You can pick it up today in the Myrtle Beach Area Business Journal. Working with a team to make Highway 22, SC 31, so many Veterans Highway a reality. You didn't hear him talk about being Hotelier of the Year in 95. That's himself. Getting the Order of the Palmetto in 97. Citizen of the Year in 98. You heard him talking about a team, not about himself. That's the thrill of working with Gary Loftus. They've seen it out of Coastal Carolina. You can see it today. Pick up Pulse of the Strand.